All right, welcome back here to Peaches 2.0. Look, I know it's been a while. In internet years, it's been like a million years. Um, Here's the deal. I could not get through A Court of Frost and Starlight. I could not reread it. Yeah, I would rather spoon my eyeballs out. Like, that's dramatic, but like seriously, I could not get through it. And it was preventing me from one, enjoying creating content for this channel, and two, just, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. So I'm back. We're gonna review Fourth Wing instead. Yeah. Welcome to Peaches 2.0. Okay, so here's the deal with Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing came out, I think, in like May of this year. I have seen it everywhere. It's been everywhere. I mean, there's signs of the bookstores like missing Fourth Wing, like read these books next. Like it's everywhere. And because it was so hyped, I really put off reading it because I find it's either spot on with the hype or I'm incredibly disappointed. So I was putting off reading it, and I could not find it in hard copy anywhere because I'm a hard copy kind of gal. So if you guys found it hard copy wise, like, where are you guys finding it? Seriously. I can't get through A Court of Frost and Starlight. Screw it. So I downloaded it on the Kindle app, read it on my phone in less than 24 hours. So I'm here to tell you the hype is real and we're reviewing it today. So let's get into the Peaches 2.0 checklist and I will tell you why the hype is real. All right, number one, genre. Officially, I think this is described as a fantasy romance. I'm going to add adventure in there. We're following dragon riders and dragons, so you cannot have those two without calling it adventure. You just can't. Spice level, number 2 on our checklist. This may be slightly controversial. I'm going to say 2. 2, maybe a 3 if you're only focusing on the spice parts themselves. But really only a 2. And here's why. Here's why. There are over 600 pages, like 39 chapters in this book, and there's only spice in 2 of them. There's some like tension throughout, but there's only actual spice in 2 of them. So for me, you can't get above a 2 if you're only going to have spice in like that few. Number 3 on the checklist, plot summary. So, it has been confirmed by Rebecca herself in interviews that Fourth Wing is the first in what will be a 5-book series called the Empyrean series. The books themselves, like she has plotted out the full storyline for 5 books. So the first one, like I said, came out I think in like May. The next book in the series, book number 2, Iron Flame, is scheduled to release on November 7th. We know nothing else about books 3, 4, and 5, at least at this time, or that I could find in all my research. So like buckle in, get in for the long haul. And if you're somebody who only reads series once they're complete, now is not the time to read Fourth Wing. We still got a while to go. The book itself is described as an elite war college for dragon riders. And the tagline is fly or die. And she is not kidding when she says fly or die. To let you like explain a little bit more. So just to walk into this dragon rider elite war college, right? There's quadrants when you get to this college, which, do they actually give it a name? Did I miss that? Crickets. So there's a quadrant for the healers, there's a quadrant for the scribes, which is actually what the main character thought she was going to be. Then there's the quadrant for the dragon riders. So to get to the quadrant for the dragon riders, you have to go up this huge tower, like upstairs, huge tower, and then there is a stone bridge, no guardrails, nothing, just this open stone bridge, hundreds and hundreds of feet in the air that you have to cross just to get into the college. And so there's 67 first years who die before they even step foot in the college. All right. So brace yourself. She's not kidding when she says fly or die. The other piece, plot summary for this book. Dragons, dragons, dragons. This is a dragon rider college. We're talking about the history of dragons. We're talking about the species of dragons. We're talking about bonding with dragons. We're talking about special powers dragon riders get when they bond with the dragons, like war games, right? This is a war college. So these are students who are training to learn military tactics and strategy and battles and sparring and dragons. So dragons, dragons, dragons. From a romance aspect, it's enemies to lovers and forced proximity at some point during the book. That's all I'm giving you. You want to know more, you're going to have to read. Then the other thing I'll add, so Rebecca Yarros this is not her first book. For me, she kind of came out of left field. I'm not familiar with her, but in my research, so she has like 15 other published books, and all of them seem to deal with this period, and she talks about this in interviews too, but this period between adolescence and adulthood. Adolescence and adulthood. So, I mean, we're out of college, right? So those young 20s where you're flying free from the nest, you're starting to experience the real world. Some of it is harsh, really harsh, and it's starting to impact who you are as a person and really form who you're going to be as a person. So that's kind of what I noticed is common throughout all her books. But then also in particular, and I'd say this isn't so much in the first part of the book, but towards the end of the first book, and I think this is going to be big in the rest of the series, and she talks about this in interviews too, but she was a history major in college, and she is really fascinated with who's allowed to tell history. So in particular, what happens if the people in power are the only ones recording history? So if you don't have the truth and you only have the truth according to the people in power, what does that do? What does that look like? What does that mean when the truth actually starts to like trickle out? So that kind of starts emerging towards the end of the first book, and I think that's going to be a really big theme throughout the rest of the series. Yeah, fly or die, bitches. Okay, next on the checklist, main characters. So female main character, Violet Sorrengail. So Violet is 20 years old. She's the youngest of 3. So she has an older sister, Mira, who is currently a dragon rider. And then she has an older brother, Brennan, who unfortunately died during the rebellion, but he was a dragon rider as well. Her mom is a very prominent general. And her dad, who also died, was a scribe. She also has EDS, which I knew nothing about, but in the interviews I was reading, this is something that the author Rebecca also has. So it's something she brought into Violet's character and her journey. Basically, it's an inherited disorder that affects your skin, your joints. It makes you bruise really easily. It's chronic pain and fatigue for the rest of your life. So because of that, she was training with her father to basically be a scribe when she grew up. And her father dies, and her mom's like, you're going to be a dragon rider or you're going to die. Mother of the year. I'd say also she's incredibly smart, super protective, brave to the point of almost being stupid at times, but never in an annoying way. I personally really liked Violet. And then her counterpart, the male main character, Xaden Ryerson. So Xaden is actually a 3rd year at the Dragon Rider College. He's kind of like the top dog. And he's actually the son of the former rebellion leader. So his father actually was executed by Violet's mother at the end of the rebellion. This is like before the book even started, right? So really complicated character dynamic history between the two of them. I'd say he's morally gray, super protective of those he loves and cares about, kind of takes on the world on his shoulders, definitely doesn't coddle anybody. He's like, look, it's harsh, but this is how it is. And I'd say he's incredibly vicious when needed. So basically, my dream guy. So that leads me to supporting characters. So for now, I'm considering all the dragons supporting characters. That may be controversial, but just they didn't get really fully introduced until like partway through the book, and we just don't have enough. I don't have enough sense of who they are as characters yet to really say, okay, these are the main characters. Definitely consider them supporting. Other big supporting characters like Dane. So he was Violet's best friend since she was like 5. His dad and her mom are really tight. So she's known him her whole life. He's a second year at the Dragon Rider school. He's incredibly annoying. Not actually in the book. Like, to me, I found him incredibly annoying. But he's there. Rhiannon, so I think she calls her Rhea a lot in the book, but that's her best female friend. They meet each other climbing the tower to go cross the parapet on day 1 of the college, and they are tight ever since. Really great female friendship there. Mira, her older sister, is present throughout the book. I'd say she doesn't have the most confidence in Violet, but she loves her to death, tries to give her all the knowledge and advice she can to make sure that Violet survives, like a good big sister would. Then you've got Jack Barlow. He is a psychopath. And another great supporting character is Liam. Liam is my favorite. He's my favorite supporting character. He's Xaden's foster brother. He's also a first year at the college with Violet. He is the top in their year. He is known as being the strongest, the fastest, the most skilled. He is just a standout rock star, but just personality-wise for me, he was definitely my favorite supporting character. Overall supporting characters, I'm going to say 4 out of 5, guys. Here's why. It's still the first book. There's a lot of opportunity, and I think she will get to 5 out of 5 for her supporting characters. It's hard to like describe the battle scenes and the dragons and people dying, and then like also here's so-and-so's backstory. Like, I don't know. It just didn't hit for me as a 5 out of 5. But I think it has potential. I feel it in my bones. It has potential to get to be a 5 out of 5. So, next on the checklist, favorite part. So for me, it's when Violet gets her power or her signet. It's this epic battle. Dragons are fighting dragons. Dragon Riders are fighting Dragon Riders. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was literally making noises out loud. It's like, oh my God. I'm not going to say what her power is. I'm like not going to spoil it. But for me, it was yeah, I freaking loved it. Which brings me next onto the checklist, favorite line. So real time reading it, I'd say my favorite line is the last line of the book. And I can't tell you what it is because it's going to spoil everything. But when I read the last line of the book, I literally jumped up. Like, I ran downstairs, scared the crap out of my dog, was screaming. Oh my God. That being my favorite line, one I can actually tell you about, that was another favorite line of mine. And it's not when I was reading it, but once I finished and then I thought back. Actually, it's the start of the book. Mira's given Violet like the download crash course. Like, here's everything you need to survive. Like, don't die, bitch. Like how any good sister would. And she's telling her like the players, she's telling her like use this, use that, don't use that, make sure you wear good boots, like all the stuff, right? And then she tells her, stay the hell away from Xander and Ryerson. And of course, me, an avid romance novelist reader, is like, who's Xander? Who's Xaden? Who's Xaden? For me, that was my favorite line that I can actually tell you about. Which leads me into last part of the checklist, last but not least. Overall thoughts and do I recommend? So it's probably obvious, but to state the obvious, hell yes, I recommend. You know where I will be November 7th. I will be locked in this room, barricaded, no one disturb me. I will be reading the second book in the series. But just overall thoughts, like, I thought she did a really good job. So I actually went to a military academy for my college. Like, I'd say reading this book like brought flashbacks. I'm like, things I had rather forgotten, brought them all back. So I think she did a really good job of like capturing the nuances. I think she actually has background. Her husband was in the military for 20 years. So like she has background in the military. And one thing that really stood out to me is rules are such a big thing in the military, and particularly at the military academy. So those people who figure out these are the rules that matter and these are the rules that don't. And then there are people who are much more these are the rules, and how that plays out, right? How that plays out in relationships and friendships. At the end of the day, how does that play out? So I just thought she did a really great job capturing those nuances. All to say, 5 out of 5, totally recommend. Which leads me into what else do I have to say to you guys today. I have no idea what I'm reviewing next. I started this channel just to be an escape from work. I just want to do things that I'm passionate about, and that gets me here every week sharing a review with you guys. And whether people watched it or not, fine, but just something I'm really excited about. So I have no idea what I'm doing for the next one. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you know when I'll be posting the next video. And spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your dragon. Just, have them join the fam at Peaches 2.0, and we'll continue to review really great and awful books together. So until next time, you guys. Bye.